Welcome to another episode of the Well Life Podcast, where we connect with individuals and experts in what we have determined to be the 8 dimensions of wellness.
Today we have on Nick Leopard. He's the CEO of a private equity consulting and tech company. Nick, it's good to have you on.
Great to be here.
little long for that intro. We a couple of blips, but we're here. Let's do it.
Nick does a lot, so you gotta fit that title in. But we appreciate you taking some time. We obviously know you have a busy schedule. Flying around, traveling the world, doing the things you do. So it means a lot to us, right, that you take some time to sit down.
Well, you guys are a part of my entire life and wellness of being able to do all those things. So I'm happy to be here.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, so as we jump in, would love for you to tell kind of the story of who you are and what Accordion is, what you guys have built.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick snapshot. I started a firm called Accordion 14 years ago. Today we have 1,100 employees across 10 offices in the U.S. and we acquired a company earlier this year in Hyderabad to really start to build a real global platform. And we also, within Accordion, incubated a separate technology company called Maestro, and so now have built that business up to be a standalone business and help run that. Although that's not day to day, but that's a business that has built a software platform for private equity to track all the value creation plans of their portfolio companies, and we've got about 25 people on that. We serve about 50 private equity funds, and over 500 companies use that to track all their metrics and progress against strategic goals. So, in essence, run a large people-based advisory business and then also a software business, which are two completely different types of businesses to manage, which I've come to realize, each with their own challenges and opportunities, but it makes it very exciting. I started that company when I was 29, but prior to that, I was a college athlete, and I think we're all kind of a unique. We're a product of all of our unique experiences, and I started with
It was lacrosse, right? By the way,
I played lacrosse in college
right?
at St. Joseph's University, Division I program. I like to say they were completely bottom of the barrel Division I.
But you get to say it was Division I.
Well, so last year they were 13th in the nation, so I just say that we laid the foundation.
That's awesome.
for that.
That's cool.
20 years ago. But so that gave that kind of playing college sports I loved the discipline around it, the camaraderie, the teamwork, winning and losing together was really helped shape kind of the path after college. And then I had the good fortune of after college working for a commercial finance company, which was a startup at the time back in DC where I grew up. And within 3 years, that company went public. It was a $3 billion market cap company. I was just a low person on the totem pole, but it was fun to be kind of part of that. And that stuck with me because a big part of that was the reason we had so much success was such a team-oriented, entrepreneurial place where everyone really felt like they could make the mark on that firm. And they did. And then I went on to investment banking in New York, worked for Bear Stearns, and that was, you don't fully understand what it means to work hard until you do 100-hour weeks consecutively, and you have to build your life around that, which I can dive into, and then ultimately started Accordion when I saw a real need in the market. But I think being an entrepreneur, and I sometimes hate that term because I think so many people bastardize that term, but building, you've got this entrepreneurial nature in you that just burns you. You have to go towards that at times. And so I was just looking to either buy a company or start a company, and came up with this huge gap in the market, launching Accordion.
Cool. So with the gap, that would be kind of, you almost created a bridge or something to facilitate. Was it something that was missing at the time that you saw as the entry point for yourself, or?
Yeah, I mean, I had buddies of mine, we'd get together, we'd be all right, what kind of companies can we bring? We've got unique skill sets, analytical, strategic thinking. Let's go buy a company. We thought about doing car wash roll-ups and all sorts of different things. I was working at a fund at the time, and all of our CFOs just needed support from individuals like us. And there's only so many people on our deal team, and there was not a firm out there that existed that served private equity CFOs and in a way that could marry strategic thinking and analytical skills, and they don't have them on their own teams for those CFOs. So built this business to focus exclusively on the private equity community. So companies that are acquired by private equity firms and exclusively on the office of the CFO. And we've been like radically disciplined around that strategy. And I think like you just have to do one thing just really, really well. And we've been very disciplined about not doing things outside that lane. Like if we're going to play, it's to play to win. And we constantly come back to that. We're like, are we doing this to just play, or are we doing this because we have a right to win?
Yeah.
And if we have a right to win, then we'll really think about doing it. And we've been very successful with that strategy, but it's always stay focused on the office of the CFO and private equity-backed companies.
Cool.
So again, you said you guys are targeting companies that are being acquired by private equity.
Correct.
Businesses. Okay. How do you find that? Are there a niche space that you're going after?
We focus on. There are we serve about 300 private equity funds based in the U.S. So we've got great partnerships with them. So because we built this business to be so good at the office of the CFO, they're like, it's really built the gold standard within there. If it has to do with a need for their CFOs, they're like, we'll call Accordion. Those are the guys. So we meet with private equity funds every single week. We talk about what's going on in the portfolio companies. And those needs rise, and then we go in and we drive real, quantifiable value creation there.
Yeah,
we're improving the bottom line.
And I guess an interesting concept there is if there's a business that's getting targeted by a PE company, they're typically going to put in some sort of executive team or some sort of staff that's going to help this company, right? So that's kind of where you guys come in and you support the CFO there.
And we've tried to really steer away from coming in and playing interim roles of leadership. We're coming in with a discrete goal, and they'll be like, we want to we work with our CFOs to think about cost optimization, think about implementing technology in here. How do we think about better sourcing, and putting processes and controls around how do we manage our cash better. And so a lot of times we're going to make those CFOs better versus displacing them. And a lot of CFOs are always scared that they're going to lose their jobs within a private equity-backed environment. But instead, we're like, look, they have unique skill sets. How do we supplement that, and how do we, make that whole CFO organization, just better?
Yeah, I mean that's a very interesting take on it, because I guess that is the scary part of private equity, right? Is that you're threatened by this cash that you brought in to hopefully expand your business, but it could also kind of consume you as well.
And look, I mean, there's such a need for CFO support, because finance professionals at a private equity fund, where are they going to put the most amount of pressure on is the finance function at the portfolio companies. So if we can arm CFOs with all these different levers around value creation of hey, we can create value here, we can create value here, they don't have to worry about their job. So it doesn't really matter around economic cycles, whether in a recession or boom time. It's saying during those times, I know all these value creation levers. I work with Accordion to really go and pull those levers.
Yeah. So then you end up being a value add both on the portfolio company and on the PE company as well, right? Because they'll implement you, or you can kind of be on the portfolio company side.
Correct.
As well. Right, you mentioned kind of coming from the private equity side, working 100 hours a week. How do you kind of differentiate that culture within Accordion versus kind of what you went through? Do you see kind of still seeing that burnout in the company that you've built, or you've kind of built something around?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm really really happy to dive into that, because I mentioned this company that I started with called Capital Source, and the culture there was just the CEO was 38 years old at the time. He was just one of the last, a guy named John Delaney was one of the last presidential candidates in the last election as a Democrat. But he had started that company, and it was truly very people oriented, teaming, and we made magic together there. And then went to banking. And I love the work of investment banking, and loved working hard. But the culture was very radically different than the culture I had at Capital Source. And I remember my first week when I was there. It was 7 p.m. There wasn't really anything going on. So, and I just moved to New York, and I went to New York Sports Club at 7 p.m. to get a workout in. I was leaving the gym later, and literally got a call on my cell phone, a scathing call, where are you? I'm like, I just left the gym.
That's crazy.
Do you need me? They're like, no, but you just should be here. There's nothing to do, but you just need to be here.
Yeah.
And it was just this grind, and a lot has changed since that time. Yeah. And when I left, I started thinking about Accordion, in 2009. I was like, look, most companies, they have a customer-focused value proposition. We're going to make the best product. We're going to make and the best service. And instead, I said, we're going to have a people-oriented value proposition first. Founding mission is called a better way to work in finance. Because if you get the people right and the culture right, and you make everyone feel like they're part of something and they're really like building, then you'll get the very best talent. Then you'll deliver the very best services, and it's this virtuous cycle. So in every office, on every TV, we have this whole better way to work in finance.
I love that.
Like
Cool.
mantra. So it's like you can go anywhere. Our offices look the same, but it just reminds people that we'll lead first with people orientation to make sure. Like, and that doesn't mean like your pushovers. It does mean, but it's more like learning and development. We hold people accountable, but we're all marching towards the same goals.
Yeah, I love that. There's like this story about Reed Hastings, the founder of Netflix, and kind of he built the company around the people, right? Yeah. So and obviously this is a testament that you've shown, right? That when you build around the people, you can build a company that has 1,000 employees that are happy and they want to be there. And obviously in these environments where people aren't coming to work, or right, because there's a lot of work from home that we've been in, how do you kind of keep this and maintain this culture? If you're a people-oriented company, you can kind of keep people happy, hopefully, and then driving forward and driving your business forward.
Yeah, I mean, look, what's the flip side of that?
Yeah.
Like, you lose people, like that's expensive. You have to like recruit other people. You don't get good talent, and so like if you do that right and you do it genuinely, not just saying. There's so many companies out there that flash all these things around the website. It's like, oh, we've got this great culture, and they're showing like these like photos of where it completely seem like fabricated once you get into like the knitting of the firm, and like, but if you do it right and you're genuine about it and you genuinely like care, like then like we've got the lowest levels of attrition in the industry, like highest Glassdoor ratings, and we attract like a beacon for great talent.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, I wanted to let's dive into that kind of wellness aspect, right? That's what we kind of preach here. We've had long talks amongst our sessions about all right, how can you do this better, that better when you're traveling? You try to get your workouts in, you make it a point. Where does that come from in you? Where does that, because obviously, right, being the CEO, you started it. It's got, right, there's some sort of trickle down effect, and that's kind of the mindset you had going in, and you uphold that as much as you can for the people around you, whether you're meeting other companies or anyone that's working for you, right? Where does that come from in like a younger Nick Leopard from day one trying to get a workout in amongst all the hours you're working? You even told me the story about trying to just run up and down stairs in the buildings in New York City in between different hours that you had free just to get some movement in. But what's the?
I think I went to college having eaten like 20-piece chicken nuggets every single day, and my freshman year I lost 40 pounds. I started to take like fitness seriously, and like after practice I'd like go for runs and just like, and look, I was a goalie too, so it's not like like the practice you're getting all that much of a workout, but like just that discipline of putting in the extra work, like that to me, like wellness is like at the core of everything. And like my mood will, like if I haven't gone to the gym in a couple of days, like it is just like my mood like shows it. And like I'm radical about just like sweating every day, because I think that that trickles down to everything else. And so, going back to like those banking days, because you mentioned it, like we used to have a corporate gym, and like I'd go down there at like 9 p.m. when it shut, just to grab some clothes, and like at 1 in, I'd go run the stairs in the Bear Stearns Tower at 383 Madison, just all up and down the stairs, like for 10 times or so, and just like be sweating, just to move. It's the only time you could do it. Or at like my wife now, but her, when she was my girlfriend, her apartment was near Upper East Side. I'd go run at like 1:30, 2 in the morning, to her place, and like I remember running by like Brother Jimmy's one night, and somebody was like that guy's training to be like Batman.
You're like, no, I'm just in private equity. What's wrong with that guy? Yeah.
But now like I really try to like emphasize this around. We do like lots of like team like firm events like revolve around like wellness and making sure that people feel like they've got the permission. Like when you think about like to like take care of yourself. Like, you only like go out in the middle of the day, like get that workout in, or like, and everyone's not always into fitness, but like just taking care of yourself in like in some manner is really important. So there's a guy that's been sort of a mentor of mine. He's a famous guy named Jimmy Allen, and Jimmy is at Bain & Company. Jimmy wrote a book called Founder's Mentality, and it's about how great companies either lose their special sauce or what they do to maintain it and scale. And like we've developed our entire operating playbook around this whole founder's mentality. But I was talking to Jimmy a couple months ago, and he goes, Nick, you know the one metric which is the most critical for any CEO, but you can't actually track it? And I was like, no, you can't track it. I don't know. And Jimmy was like, he's like, energy. He's like, when you come in a room, people are looking at you for your energy. You're either going to create energy or you're going to, or like deplete the energy. He's like, you can't be on all the time. And so he goes, write down what are the moments that matter you need to be on. It's like media, town halls, deep thinking, like key clients. But everything else, like you have to think about delegating, but you also have to think about like, CEOs are like yesteryear, like, everyone always like loves like pound their chest, like, oh, I work, like I'm on planes, I'm up at 6 a.m. like in the office, and like that's not how it works. Because then you walk around and if you're giving everyone like 50% of yourself, then it doesn't matter. So you guys know this because I'll be in here, but like I'll try to like either craft my schedule around like be like, all right, I'm gonna work out till like I'm gonna push all my meetings till like 10 a.m. because I'm gonna get a good workout tomorrow morning because I've been too busy. Or I'm gonna make time for that because then you bring the right levels of energy to other areas that really matter.
Yeah, that's amongst family life.
Yeah.
Right. Getting the kids, saying hi to them, getting them on the bus or driving to school, which I know that you've said to me before, trying to make, right, we've had different switch ups for workouts because you're in between meetings and calls and something changes, right? But you're always seeming to get it in, whether you're traveling or you're home. Are there any specific points that you kind of iterate for yourself or things that you do on a daily basis? Being so busy, traveling to different countries sometimes, right, time zones, managing to get enough sleep, enough food in, enough workouts. Are there any things that you kind of like to prioritize in your day or any ways you go about it? Yeah,
I mean, my workouts, look, I think when I work out in the morning, you get the endorphins going and you're ready for the day. For me, like in the recent years, like I prioritize sleep more than anything. I just got this great mattress cover. Which they call it 8 Sleep. So now we got 8 Well, but it's been amazing. But like sleep, like if I'm out to a dinner, I'm getting home, like I'm probably not getting up and working out at like 6 a.m. But I'm looking at my schedule on the way home and be like, all right, I've got a window from like 2 to 3:30 tomorrow. Like I'm bouncing out of the office. I'm getting that workout in. So like sleep, I think, is at the core of everything, and so have really tried to prioritize that. The other thing is like sometimes like that's just not possible because you're on you're flying overnight to like London or you're in LA and you're just off. And I will, wherever I get, I'll try to get a run in, or it's a great way to see cities as well, but also really trying to think about nutrition along the way, protein, and it's not always easy when you're traveling. I mean, I found individual protein packs to throw in the bag and stuff. But so that's been helpful. And the biggest thing I struggle with is it's just part of the nature of our jobs and is just alcohol and being out to dinners and look, I enjoy it, enjoy going out, having a martini, a couple of drinks. But it's kind of just part of it's part of the ecosystem of what we do, just being out culture, and it's hard to avoid. So that is, and I know a lot of people can avoid it. I said, I enjoy being out.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's trying to manage everywhere around outside of that.
Yeah, it's about. I think that you made a good point there, and it's about kind of trying to plan these things around all the social work and family events that you do have, right? So I know I have drinks and maybe I have to get on a flight the next day, but I'm going to find a workout. I'm going to find 6 to 8 hours of sleep, and hopefully, right, that gets me to this optimal well-being, or this optimal place where I can deliver some energy to people.
Yeah. I mean, not ironically, but interestingly, COVID, I was probably in the best shape that I've been because it's just cut down going out every night, and it was just being getting workouts in. I mean, worked more those first couple of months during COVID than they ever had since founding the firm. But it was just locked to that computer, trying to make sure how do we manage this company through this. But it was in some of the best shape. Yeah,
because you cut down travel, right? So now you don't even have to worry about that issue of going to the city or flying somewhere else, right? So now you bake in that hour.
Yeah.
It's back to you. Yeah.
It's back. Yeah. Yeah. And there's been some good things that have come out of it. Like, just like, more of a receptivity. I love being in the office. I love being around people, but like being like, hey, half day to get that workout in, or see the family in the morning, take our kids to school, which is really important to me. And that's where I'll switch up workouts sometimes just so I can like make sure getting that family time. And there's that whole saying there's what's in life, like family, friends, work, and at any one point you can only be good at two of them. And so those things change. And constantly trying to be like, can all three be good? But it's but sometimes there's sacrifices you have to make.
Well, that comes back to energy as well, right?
Yeah.
Because how can you give 100% to everything, right? So it's kind of trying to plan and put your energy in the right places.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, it work and whatever one you decide, it does take a lot.
Yeah. So I guess for you, I know we kind of touched on some of those things, but how would you define wellness for yourself?
Well, wellness to me is am I in a state where I've got I feel like I'm in control of my life. Things aren't swirling in my head. I'm radical about lists and just in my phone right now. I'll be out and writing lists just so I don't forget.
Yeah.
And if I can feel in control of everything I have going on, and you're radically organized about those things, then I feel you can accomplish so much. And so it's wellness to me is feeling good about mentally, physically, and then having the space to really do the things where I want to focus.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to be to do everything. But I'll tell you, if I'm not in a place from a physical, mental, well-being, I haven't been able to give that time. The rest of it kind of spirals.
Well, that's it, right? And that's I think that's the big conversation we have with wellness is, and that's the message we try to deliver to people in the beginning was, hey, we're talking about 8 dimensions of wellness because if you're not touching one of these, right, it's going to start screaming for your attention, and it's going to put stress on everything else.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so it's just kind of paying attention to all these different areas of your life and kind of trying to keep that balance so you can kind of be optimized.
Yeah. I think that's something I have to get better at too, is the list thing too, right? Writing things down is I almost forget to write them down. To forget that I have to do them, right? Obviously there's such an hour-to-hour schedule in the gym, training, clientele, right? We have the class schedule built out and the group training stuff, but hour-to-hour content, conversations, I have to have calls I have to make sometimes, right? It's you nailed it on the head, but just you're out coming home late at night, be like, oh, I got to write that down on my phone right away.
I think it all comes down to finding your own personal style for that. I used to write things down in a notebook and be a list. And what I realized, I always have that notebook with me. Then I've got 5 different lists. And so now the reminders app on my phone, I'm in that constantly. And I'll bitch about the train into the city sometimes, but I get an hour and I'm just plowing through things, getting things, and that time to me is the only time of my day where it's just me, and I can do some deep thinking, read what I need to read, prep for the day, or get through things I need to. But I think that sort of task list has been important to kind of keep it all organized.
Yeah, which is I feel mental energy. That's it's you're either going to run at a high mental energy or a low mental energy based off of how chaotic your life could end up. I wanted to
set micro goals, I think for a week, or it's whether that be working out, or whether all right, I'm going to get 4 great workouts in the gym, and I'm going to get some cardio in. But it's also it translates to everything else. And so those micro goals to me are I preach them all the time, in the office, what are we doing this week? What's going to get done? I think comes back. I remember when I was playing, come back to February practice, we had a choice. You could either run 2, to start, you could either run 2 miles in 13 minutes or run 1 mile in 5:50. And I was like, fuck, I'll do 5:50.
Let me get this done.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, and you start on that, and I just remember just setting those goals around what am I going to run each week. I ended up running 5:32 and just to start practice. So totally overachieved when I had 18 more seconds to go.
I like the concept of micro goals though, because the micro goals are going to lead you to whatever your macro goal is, right? So I think we talk a lot about creating processes for every day that kind of lead you to build habits and lead you to whatever goal you're trying to achieve. So be it success as a business, be it trying to change something in your body, right? Trying to optimize your well-being, you need these micro goals in place to kind of to succeed.
You got to. I mean, it's like setting a strategic plan for a company too. Like, look, we want to grow, revenue by, $350, $400 million, like in the next couple of years. Like, okay, what is it going to take
How's that look?
to get
reverse
there?
engineer.
What do we have to do in January to do that?
And it's not even just more effort.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, well, we got to create these new products, or we got to go acquire these companies. It's just now it comes all the way back to the January thing.
Yeah. That was going to kind of lead me pretty much what you just said. What advice would you give to someone who's a young entrepreneur? Because it's so easy, and we've actually talked about it on a few other instances ourselves and on podcasts. It's so easy to fall into I want to be a business owner. I want to grow, right? The money, the this, the that, all the things that come with those years of exponential growth, right? But what's some advice that you'd give to someone that's young and starting out so they don't end up constantly, right, in the trap of almost not being able to delegate work? And they're in the cycle of just constantly working for themselves, doing the same thing every year, right? Are there any tips you'd give for that growth factor perspective for someone that wants to get there?
Yeah, look, I mean, first off, I said at the beginning, I think the term entrepreneur gets totally bastardized, and people think they want to. So be sure you want to do it.
Yeah, totally. It's much different.
It's a grind. I mean,
it's not what Instagram makes it look like.
No. And
anyone watching, we're on Instagram right now.
I've seen it. So many guys be one, they don't have the fortitude to get to power through it. You have to have self belief. This is going to be a big thing. In time, but it's just going to take time, and you just have to have the tenacity to just keep going, going through. So first off, make. It's always going to take so much more time, so much more money. It's going to be a grind.
Yeah.
So, I think that's important. And it's not the glamour. It's not the Instagram. One of our first employees, I played lacrosse with him, and he was a great guy. But when it came down to it, a year in or so, he loved the image of being an entrepreneur. I'm gonna bring my dog to the office. I'm going out. I'm gonna. Work from home. This is before people were working from home. Work from home, and it was more about the glamour of it. I'm there's no glamour here.
Yeah.
It's
we're grinding.
You're just doing it, and it's and you need to recognize that all those things will come in time, and even when and if that success does come, you just gotta be so grounded. What got me here? I need to keep my head down and do this, and then one of the things that so it's I think for early entrepreneurs, it's put that head down and just do the work. Nothing replaces doing the work. You see it here in the gym. You see it it's just it goes into everything, and then you're gonna. I mean, I'm sure you probably see it with some of your own fitness clients. They probably have early gains and then plateau, and then they have to push through the next one. The same thing happens starting a business. You're super inspired and you go through these curves of mental curves. And you got to work yourself through those curves, and then it's and one of the things that I've really thought about as our organization has scaled has been okay, do I need to be here? Is there somebody else here rather than doing everything? There's things that you actually if you take pen paper and say, what do I do every day? Do I love doing that? Or do I not love doing it? There's things you actually don't love doing. You just do it anyways, but there's other people that are great at doing that one thing, and they want to do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they might like doing it too.
Yeah,
and that ends up actually being more profitable for your business.
Hugely,
anyway,
more effective, more impactful by putting somebody else on it. So I constantly try to manage myself out of my own role, on certain aspects of it, and then understand other aspects where I'm uniquely qualified, or have these superpowers. We've worked with performance coaches. You got these unique superpowers. Lean into those. So
cool.
Yeah.
What's next? What is your? I mean, I guess that's a very very broad question, right? Being you personally, do you have any goals? What is 5 to 10 years? That's a fucking really long time, obviously, in the grand scheme of what business is like and where you're at. But could be company, could be personal. What does life look like for you?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm 43 years old. We've had some really, really great success. I love what we do, and I'm fortunate to work alongside some people who have become my best friends, and from all walks of life. And it is, I feel fortunate. I feel inspired every day. Where we're all holding each other accountable. There's that energy. So to me, now we've gone through two turns of private equity as well. When I've told both private equity firms when they've come in, I've said, look, we're going to focus on building a great long-term business. We're not focused on metrics first. And if we do that first, all the metric, the financial outcomes would be a byproduct of that. And so, if we take this, continue to build it for 10 more years, I want to take a step back and say, in 10 years, like, have we done it in a way where Accordion is still like incredibly unique and like it's a people-oriented culture and like we built something unique in the market, just not another sort of like, another Me Too sort of like firm out there. And then like, definition of success for me personally would be like, do I love doing it in 10 years? And do I have the energy and have I been able to build up other leaders?
Yep.
And I know that sounds like cliche and everything, but like, we just promoted a guy who's like 29 years old as a managing director, like super young, but like, he earned it first off, but I also want to show the organization like, look, you work your tail off, you do these things. It's not just about hard work. It's about like, organizing and like providing value to like your teammates and like we're gonna recognize you for that. And so being a place where people feel that they're recognized and want to do their best work, like then that in turn inspires me as well.
Oh, cool. Love that. So right, obviously we have some people watching here listening. What would be the best way? Like, should people find you somewhere? Should they find the company somewhere? Where could they look?
Yeah. Well, look, you can see Accordion.com. Our Instagram is Life at Accordion. Our software company is go-maestro.com. And
I think one thing, and sorry to cut you off, one thing that's interesting with your company website is that it is completely people focused. Like the way you talk about your culture, like you see your people, it's all over the website. It's hanging out. It's at an event. Yeah, right. I think that if I was someone that was looking to work in that space, right, that would feel like a very inviting company for me.
Look, there's a brand to it. It's not just like consulting.
I think you named it Accordion for a reason as well. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, I mean, look, I can't play a musical instrument to save my life, but but the idea of like an Accordion, like expand and contract teams to be able to go into companies, help them, then extract ourselves, like making those companies better places. Our people love it because a certain level of ADD, you go in and out of different places.
You get something new,
new experiences. But like when it comes down to like the website and branding and everything, like, look, there was a company when I first started, when I was thinking about Accordion, they were like, have you heard of this company called Axiom Legal? I'm like, never heard of it. And I went to a website and it was a similar concept in the legal industry, but they were like their brand, like I had like an emotional reaction to that. And I was like, God, this company is awesome. Like I'd want to work here. And we're talking like lawyers, like there's nothing sexy about lawyers, but this was like their offices were in Soho. It was like edgy, like brand. And I was like, that's the brand. That's a brand that I want, like to have like edge where people will feel drawn to it versus just a bunch of like, bunch of nerds sitting behind the computer.
Yeah. How do you make law? How do you make finance? A little more sexy.
Yeah,
right? A little
exactly.
more appealing to people, definitely.
Yeah.
So Nick, we appreciate you, man.
Awesome, man.
Thank you for the time.
No,
we know you probably have to catch a plane somewhere tomorrow, so maybe we'll spend some time with us.
Good to be here, guys.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, of course.